Wow.
Mmm.
What the heck? These noodles are so nice and chewy.
Mm-hmm. Really bouncy.
Mm-hmm.
Mmm.
And Stephanie actually made this. So
I did.
that's like 20 times more impressive.
You know what?
You know?
Wow. It's spicy, but it's not like... I was gonna say unbearable, but I think I changed my mind. It's pretty spicy, but it's so good. It's like a good spicy. Mm.
Here. Yeah, giant ass shrimp too.
Holy cow, that's so good.
Wow.
Wow, it is really spicy though. Oh my gosh. It's so spicy and good, but I'm using kimchi as my chaser. That's how spicy it is.
Wait, I think I did splash.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. Kimchi with this is so good. Oh wow, I just swallowed an entire squid tentacle by accident. And I am so impressed that I didn't choke, honestly.
Wow.
I did good. Wow. Mm.
Wow.
Okay. Let's try this shrimp. Mm-hmm. This is perfect because it's been so gloomy in LA. It's been very rainy. Today with the rain, I want to talk about something. Honestly, today's sponsorship is very appropriate because I'm going to sound like an absolute idiota while I explain this theory. This kind of, what would you call it? I don't even know what people call it. An interpretation of science, of quantum mechanics. Yes, bitch. I'm literally about to talk about quantum mechanics, and do I know what that is?
Absolutely not.
That's why you should check out Unbound. I'm gonna do my absolute best. Honestly, I watched 3 different videos on quantum mechanics, and all 3 of them, I think they were supposed to be marketed towards like middle schoolers who don't know quantum mechanics, and I still was very, very confused.
What does that even mean?
Don't ask, because I don't know. I almost watched this like 45-minute documentary about it, and then I started it, and then I fell asleep, and then we woke up, and here we are eating peeping noodles because I just don't understand it. So this is what's going on, right?
Stony's gonna tell you about her drink.
But I'm gonna tell you about it. So quantum mechanics, all... put a little definition here because we're not really talking about quantum mechanics in itself. We're talking about it just got so bright and I look as pale as a ghost. Because of quantum mechanics came this interpretation of life, interpretation of physics, which is called the many worlds theory. And it's an interpretation of what might possibly happen in the world. It has not been proven. They kind of consider it a physics interpretation and also a thought experiment, right? It's not something that they can actually prove, and it's not something that they can give you like the probability of like this is absolutely what's happening in the universe. But this one sounds like a lot of very smart, intelligent people were on drugs when they thought of it, because it sounds crazy to me, but there's a lot of people who wholeheartedly believe in it, and I believe that if I was a little bit smarter and understood a little bit more, maybe I would be able to relate to it harder. But in this sense, it's just really wild. So quantum mechanics kind of has me trying to look like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you about an experiment. You have talked about this, and I had no idea that this contributed, yes, to the many worlds theory. And so the way that this works is there was this physician way back in the day, I believe his name was like Erwin Schrödinger. He put a cat in a box, and this was his theory. He said, if I put my cat in a box and I have this poison in a glass jar, and I put some radioactive material inside of the box, and if the radioactive material decays, then that means that the jar of the poison will explode and the cat will die, right? But if the radioactive material does not decay, then the poison will never be released into the box. And so he said that there's something called a superposition, which means that you are either or you're a little bit of both. So he's saying that the radioactive material is both decaying and not decaying, right?
Yeah.
And so that means technically if the radioactive material can be both at the same time, does that mean the cat is dead and also alive at the same time? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
They trying to explain this to a middle schooler, to middle school kids.
Well, I'm not sure if it was two middle school kids, but they really dumbed it down. That's what the commenters were saying.
Oh.
And then I was like, really? I thought they smartened it up. It was like, this sounds like a college, professor. Yeah, and so he said that means that the cat is both dead and alive at the same time. But then how does that only apply to the cat? If you say this applies to the cat, then it must apply to everything in the outside world, outside of the box. So that means that the person who has to discover the cat is also either dead or alive. So this led to another physician, and another physician is a doctor bits, another physicist, and another physicist. So pretty much what they're saying, it's such a hard thing to explain. Like, I feel like I understand like the bare minimum basics of this entire theory and this interpretation, but I just don't know how to explain it, right? Me giving myself an excuse. So pretty much it's saying that how do you decide that this cat, so when you open the box, you will see that the cat is either alive or dead. So up until that point, what in the universe decides how this cat goes from two states of being dead and alive to one? Because when you open it, it's not going to be both. It's going to be either alive or dead. So how does the universe decide that? That seems crazy. That doesn't really go towards the theories of a lot of physicists, because that means like, is it random? That doesn't make sense. You have to be able to explain this. And essentially they created this theory, the people that believe in it, otherwise known as the many worlds theory, which means that there are many worlds. So they said that you can only experience certain things. And the one thing that nobody can experience is death. And so what they were saying is that every time a molecule, whether it's a person or a bug or a cat, experiences death or makes a decision, the world splits into two. So to put it like simpler, they're saying if I got hit by a car and I instantly died, because I cannot experience death, the world would be split into two, where one of them I die and I never get to experience it again, and then in the other world, the one that I keep living in, is the one where I recover in the hospital. And then a couple years later, so the world is without Stephanie in this one. Everyone's like, that's what we've been waiting for. I'm just kidding. The world is without Stephanie in this one. This one, Stephanie has recovered from her car accident. And then Stephanie gets hit by a flying piano, fell out of a New York City apartment window. It gets smashed. Now, again, because I can't experience death, the world splits again. In the one that I have died and the world lives on without me, and then my consciousness goes to a world where I'm not dead and I recover. And so pretty much it's very confusing, because they're saying that it's not even just about dying and not dying, it's about every decision that's made, that the world slips into two. So they're saying that any decision that you have to make, there's another universe out there somewhere where you made the opposite decision and the world continues on. And they're saying you yourself are only living in this reality, but there is someone that is the other Stephanie in that decision that is equally as important in consciousness. So a lot of movies, they make it seem like if you collide with a parallel universe and you meet your other self, that you are still like the protagonist. And that person is just like a robot or like science weird, But it's actually like all of them are an equal part of your consciousness. But you are only experiencing this one. And the reason that a lot of people believe this is because it doesn't make sense how a universe would decide how something goes from two different states to one state.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Not really. So how does that apply to our lives, though? Did that change anything? Oh.
It's just a thought experiment, I kind of see it as people who strongly believe that we're living in a simulation, where it's like, when you think about it, it could be there, but there's no proof yet that there's no way to even prove it. In theory, you could say that this is considered immortality because you never actually die. Because the one thing that you can never really experience is being dead. And so what they're saying is with this idea of many worlds, when you keep splitting off and your consciousness keeps splitting into other forms of reality, technically